Hey Flosstube, it is Michelle from Made by Michelle McGraw, and it is July 26th, 2023. And I think I got that date right this time because in my last two Flosstubes, I was not successful with the date. So I have had to restart this video. This is like my sixth time. So yeah, one was the UPS guy. I needed to sign for something. So let's hope I can get through this video. Okay, if you are new here, thank you so much for joining me. And if you're not new here and you're returning, thank you so much. If you haven't already, like and subscribe the video, and thank you so much for doing that. So I have some finishes to show, whips, some haul. So we're gonna jump in and get started. Okay, so just some statistics that I have from my stitching. I have stitched 51, I have finished 51 things. This fully stitched, words, they're hard, I'm sorry. I have stitched 51 things so far this year, and of those 51, 39 are ornaments. So if you don't know, I am doing the goal to stitch 52 ornaments, which is a hashtag, in 2023. I am doing that over on Instagram with Red Poppy Crafts, The Traveling Viking Mom, Cow Stitcher, and Levin's Stitchin'. Feel free to join us and use the hashtag. Even if you don't think that you're going to get 52 ornaments, use the hashtag so we can follow along and see your ornaments. Sorry, the parade of my dogs they're not settled today, so I don't know what they're all doing. They're very barky and fidgety. I'm so sorry. Anyhow, use the hashtag so we can follow along. It's been a lot of fun to see everybody stitching and see what they're stitching and get ideas for ornaments. I've enjoyed doing this. I've gotten to stitch a lot of ornaments that I just normally don't get to. I love the patterns, but I always have something else I need to stitch, so I don't get to them. This year, I've gotten to a lot of those, so that's been a lot of fun. I have 2 of the 16 ornaments that I want to do for my kids. Each kid gets 4 ornaments. My 3 boys and then my future daughter-in-law, so that's 16. I've done 2 of those, so 2 of those are in that 39 count already, but I do feel like I will get to the goal of 52. I've kind of changed up my goals. Last year I had some pretty lofty goals, and they are just stitching goals. They're not, anything more than a goal. If I don't reach them, you kind of shrug your shoulders and you move on. But I felt like I didn't have time to do anything because I felt like, well, I need to do this. So I wanted to lessen my plate this year. And so my goal is just to stitch the 16 ornaments. And then I want to do 3 more pieces for my nativity set. Last year, I had a goal to do 3 pieces and I only got 1 piece for it stitched. I normally do some for the hometown holidays, and I've kind of dropped that goal this year. I still want to do the whole set, but I didn't make it a goal. If I get around to stitching 1, I'm going to be thrilled. But I still have 3 from last year to fully finish. The stitching is done. I need to fully finish them. So I kind of felt like, well, that goal can go on the back burner this time. Lessen my goals and then be able to open up to stitch more. I do want to stitch the Santa that goes with the Mrs. Claus that I showed last time or the time before. And, but I didn't make it a goal. I told myself, if I get to stitch him this year, great. If I don't, I will stitch him next year. So I'm trying to lessen my, my goals on myself and just kind of feel like I have more freedom to stitch what I want. So that's been fun. It's been a lot of fun to stitch all of the ornaments and stitch some of these patterns that I've had, some of them for years that I haven't gotten to stitch. So been a lot of fun. So use the hashtag and join us if you're so inclined to stitch ornaments. All right, let's show words. Show, articulation is important, right? Some fully finishes. Okay, the first up is from Lizzie Kate. And this is Faith. It's a flip pattern that has two different ones on it. I don't remember what the other one, I want to say Cheer, but I could have that wrong. And I did the Faith side. I did this on 25 count, sorry, itchy eye, 25 count Country Vintage Mocha. And I did use Color and Cotton for this. Now I used Color and Cotton that was in the same colors as what was called for. I just used Color and Cotton floss. Color and Cotton is actually one of my favorite flosses. Love, love, love their floss. So that is my finish. Let me go in. It's just really pretty. I love anything with a church. And here is the back, which is just some Christmas fabric that I had that I felt like matched the green on it. So anytime I do a longer ornament like this, my favorite way is just to put buttons to attach the holder, the ribbon. And let me put this board down. When you put it on your Christmas tree, it balances it nicely if you go to the ends, versus you'll see my next finish will have a bow in the middle and a holder in the middle. I don't think it balances it well. I think this way balances it better. So any longer ornament, you'll see me finish it that way. So I did use this trim that I had on the edges, and that is my fully finish. Oh, I get a lot of questions on my labels. So I get my labels from Ever Emblem on Etsy. They are iron on, and I always get the, I think it's like 3-second or 15-second, I think is your options. I get the 3-second iron on. I'm not washing these. I mean, obviously they're not gonna get washed. So the lesser of the time to iron it on works just fine. So I've had very good luck with them, and no, I don't get any kickback, although I should, because I use them all the time, but they're really great. They send proofs, you approve them, and then they're very, very quick. So, all right. The next one, I'm gonna just stay with Lizzie Kate, and it is The Most Wonderful Time of Year. So this is stitched on 14 count golden needle Aida. It is a soft Aida, but not a hand-dyed Aida. I like that white really shows up on it well. It does tend to fray a lot. Now, I'm not worried. I don't work on something, on an ornament long enough for it to fray and make an issue, but it does fray. So if you buy it, kind of know that it does tend to fray a little bit. So maybe cut a little extra. So that's the ornament. I think I used called for. And then here's the back where I used this vintage Santa and Mrs. Claus fabric. And there's my label again. And I also used this ribbon from Stash on the edges and on the holder. So I also used a button to put the holder and the ribbon on. So that is a Pfeiffer technique that I learned from her. You use a button and it hides it hides your knot and everything. So it makes it nice and neat. And I love that. That is my go-to way to put a hanger on a normal ornament. This is what I would consider a normal ornament. I have a ribbon in the middle, button. This is what I would consider a longer one. I generally don't put a ribbon on those because it's not centered in the middle. It's on the side. So that's the difference. But I learned that tip from Pfeiffer and it works really, really good. I have tons and tons of buttons from scrapbooking, and then I have a big jar in my kitchen that has buttons in it. My grandmother used to have this big jar of buttons in her kitchen, so that's kind of where I have a jar of buttons. But those are mostly off of different clothes and stuff like that, where my scrapbooking buttons are from my scrapbooking days. And I have tons of them because you literally use one, maybe two buttons at a time. A lot of these, like that's probably a Stampin' Up button. So they're a good source to get buttons if you're looking for good colors, styles. I am sure there are more resources that you could get buttons for cheaper, but I have them in my stash. I use them. All right, let's stay with Lizzie Kate. It came out of the same pattern as The Most Wonderful Time of Year. I can't remember the name of the pattern, but it is a Lizzie Kate. And I just loved that little reindeer. I think he's super cute, using the called for fabric. And I finished him the same way. So I finished him with that fabric. I love that Santa and that Mrs. Claus. I love a vintage Santa. I used the same ribbon, and there you can see a button to put it all on. And here's like a little mini tag that I have with my year. So those are also all my tags are from Ever Emblem. So there is that one. Let's go in close so you can see. Same fabric that I stitched the other one on. Okay, so the rest of them are all Prairie Schooler ornaments. So some of these were stitched this year, 2 were stitched last year, and I just got around to finishing them. This one was stitched this year, and this is a Prairie Schooler train, and it came out of a magazine, a very old magazine, that it had the cross stitch in it, and I did change the colors a little bit from what it was called for. I just loved the train track going around the train. I just picked up my Prairie Schooler bag and I got floss out of it and used it. So it stays in the same color scheme as what most Prairie Schoolers call for. All of these are finished with the same backing fabric, which is just a plaid from Fat Quarter Shop. And once again, you'll see my ribbon from Stash and a button. That is a great tip that Vonna shows, and she explains how to put it on. I also got, I might have to show this later. Yeah, I'll show it later. I used a new ribbon making tool from Chantel's 141 Designs, and I'll show that when I show you my finishing bag. And it was very helpful to make perfect bows. All right, the next one is another Prairie Schooler, and I used called for threads like I do most Prairie Schoolers. I use call for, which is about this one is really unusual that this blue shows up in it. It's a really bright blue. It's very un-Prairie Schooler-ish, but I really like it. And I think all of the patterns in that book have it, have that blue somewhere in it. So that is Santa and his cookies. And I did use the eyelash trim from Lady Dot Creates and just a white bow up here with the button. This is stitched on 14 count Murky, as this is stitched on 14 count Murky. Actually, I think all my Prairie Schoolers are 14 count Murky. This one is Prairie Schooler World Santas. I can't remember. There's World Santas 1 and World Santas 2. I can't remember what book it is. I stitched this last year and I'm just now fully finishing it. So he's really cute. I really like him. Those are really quick, that if you want to do some Santas, these are even quicker than the yearly Santas. They're a little bit smaller. I'll compare it when I show you the yearly Santa next. I'll show you the difference in size. And he's finished with the same backing fabric. And once again, another button, ribbon from Stash. And he's on 14 count Murky as well. I really liked him. Okay, and then this one was also stitched last year. I finally got around to fully finishing it. This is one of the yearly Santas. I generally add the year that I stitched them in. He's really cute with his little gingerbread. He's on 14 count. Wait a minute, let me look. No, this is 16 count. This is 16 count Murky. Yeah, that's 16 count, I believe. And I finished him with the same backing fabric because it matched all of them, so I just kept it. And some ribbon from Stash and the button. So here's a good, well, and this is not exact because This is stitched on 16 count, but you can see this is bigger than this one. So if you wanted to do some Santas, the World Santas from Prairie Schooler are quicker. They go a little quicker. These have a little bit more detail in them. These are a little simpler. But they're a good source. So if you wanted to do some Santas, that might be a good pattern to look at. I also used the eyelash trim. This one, I put the eyelash trim on with invisible thread, which I really liked how you couldn't see the thread at all, because I hand sew on all my trim. Generally, I hand sew it on. Invisible trim is fussy because it's like nylon, think a thin nylon fishing line. And so it's a little fussy to use. I liked that you couldn't see it, but I did feel like I had to, I normally like just go around and stitch it on. I whip stitch this one on to give it a little bit more security. I don't know. I don't know if the invisible thread is worth the time that it took me to do it, but I like the way it looks. Love him. I still would like to stitch my Santa for this year. I haven't done that yet, but once again, I don't have it as a goal, so if I don't get to it, I'm okay. All right, so that's my fully finishes. That was 7 fully finishes. I still have a stack of fully finishes to do. A lot of times when I go to finish, I do not like to finish, like these Lizzie Kate came from the same book. Same pattern. So I finished them because they're the same fabric, same threads. I finished with the same backing material, the same ribbon. I like to finish them that way. Even though I don't care where they go on the tree, I like to, they're kind of, in my mind, a set. They're easy to finish that way because I've picked out one backing fabric. I've picked out one ribbon and it's gonna match. So I like to wait sometimes until I have the entire set done before I fully finish. Doing these Prairie Schoolers, they were all done on 14 count murky, so it was easy. They're all using the called for threads. It was easy to get one backing fabric and fully finish them. So that's kind of how when I go in my pile, sometimes I gather up ones that are similar and then I fully finish those together. Okay, I wanted to show you before I go into my whips, I wanted to show you my finishing bag. So I've showed one of these before. I actually have it right beside my stitching chair right here, and I love it. It is so handy. I wanted another one. Okay, so I'm sorry, I might have bumped the camera. Normally I used this 31 tote and I had everything in here. And it worked good until I got too much finishing supplies, and then I was constantly digging and this wasn't big enough. So I got a new tote, and this is it's a felt diaper caddy on Amazon. It is not expensive. It is not fancy. I'm sorry. I just realized what was in the front of my tote. Let me take that out. Hold on. If you didn't see that, you can reverse and see it. It's a little offensive, but it's something that my son 3D printed with his 3D printer years ago, and I've always had it in my tote. And I put it in this tote, but you can reverse and see what it was. So I don't want to be offensive. I don't know why I have it, and I don't know really why he printed it, but he was playing and that was a file that he found, and he printed it just to see, and so it's always been in my tote. And when I did this tote, I put it on it too. I know, so bad. All right, so here is my fully finishing tote without the offensive screen printing. I'm trying to show it without it falling. So I have obviously my rulers that I use. This is another ruler that I use. So I have those in here. But what else do I have? Because everybody uses rulers, right? Well, I have one of these grippers for your ruler. I don't use this on these rulers. it's basically made for like big rulers when you're cutting big fabric, but I just stuck it in here because that's when I cut. I have some fabric glue, Aleene's tacky glues in here. I also have, this is something, it's like a little votive holder, I believe. It's actually from the dollar store. Now, mine has glue in it because when I'm finishing, I put my glue like this so that the glue is always down at the tip. You don't have to open the glue. You can just store it like that while I'm at the table, and then it makes it easier to use. Although sometimes glue does leak in it. For $1, it'd be $1.25 now, but that's invaluable, and it's just a little owl that I use. What else do we have? This is something, so I got this on a scrapbooking retreat, and you can see it is Girls Stamping Up Retreat 20, is it 16 or 12? I'm not sure. It's one of those dates. The lady doing the retreat made it for everybody, and I think it's rice or beans or something in here, and it's like when you're gluing stuff, it's to weight it down, and this is perfect because if you're gluing papers, you put a little something on it to weight it down. But I found in finishing, I use this, so I keep it in here, and as you can see, it's got glue all over it, dried glue. That's fine. It does its job. I have some of the Wonder Clips in here when I'm sewing something. My Kreinik cord maker, which I'm not great at. I'm still learning, but it's in here. I have a tub of my flosses to fully finish with. I always have black and white in here, but I also have upholstery thread. So I have that, and then I have, here's the invisible nylon thread. I'm not sure if you can see it dangling. It's like little, so I always have that in there with a needle. I have reading glasses. Here are some other tools and stuff that I keep in here in case those are needed. This is my newest tool. Where's the other piece? Here it is. These are bow makers from Chantel's 141 Designs. And this is something new that she just came out with. She has a quick, it is like a 1.5-minute video, maybe 45-second video. I'm not even sure. It's quick. It shows you how to use them, and they are perfect. They are very, very helpful to get good bows. Highly recommend that. Go see her website. What else do we have in here? I always have this clip here. This is weird, but I use this clip to clip the end of my pillow. Like when the hole is here, I clip it to hold this side together while I'm sewing it, while I'm hand sewing it. I don't know, it just always is very helpful. My other stuffing tools, I've showed these before. It's a stuffing fork. They are still available. I really like them. It is from Barbara Willis Designs, and it has like a little, I don't know if you can see that little fork part on it, and it helps when I'm stuffing. Here's a smaller one. I will say I use the thicker one more, but you can also use chopsticks. I think the stuffing fork stuffs it a little better. A soft brush to brush up any of the edging. Of course, I have rotary cutter, fabric scissors in here. So there's everything that I need to fully finish in here. On here is some other circles that I've cut out of cardstock. They were extras. I don't throw them away. I save them in case I need them next time. Yeah, so this is my fully finishing bag. And when I go to finish, I put this on the table beside me, and I have all my tools that I need. And it's very, very helpful. So maybe that inspires somebody. This would work as well until you outgrow it. So, and I think that diaper caddy, I paid under $20 for it, shipped to my house. So, okay, what have I been working on and finished? Okay, I have finished 2 of these. So I'm going to show you them. Let me see if I can get the patterns. I don't think they're on the same pattern, but maybe they are. Yes, these are on one pattern. Okay, so I have a couple different patterns to do, but they are Starry Starry Night Part 2 from Blackberry Lane. These are older patterns. I thought they were still available. They're not as readily available, but you still can find them. I don't think 123 Stitch has all of them, but I think she has some from her. So check it out. And those are the ones that I'm doing. Now, I did change these. These were originally supposed to be in these lockets. These lockets were like this big, okay? Super, super small. I stitched them on 14 count Aida, and to make the silhouette stand out more, the dark silhouette part, I did with 3 strands. The rest I did in 2. And I really liked how that turned out. So here are the shepherds. Very pretty, love it. It's gorgeous. It's gonna be a great ornament. I did take the pattern and I squared it up some. So the pattern kind of had some rounded sections. So when you folded it over to go in the pendant, it was all stitched on the front. There was no lines, like you wouldn't have a border on this. As you can see, they're flat. So it kind of bevels out a little bit, but there's not really important stitching in there. And she does show the rectangle, which is going to be like your flat front, which is what you're going to see. So I only stitched the flat front part, and I'm not sure if that makes sense, but it is marked on the pattern. You'll see the rectangle, and they're stitching outside that rectangle. I didn't stitch that. So that's the first one. And this is the second one, and this is Emmanuel. I finished it last night, so it's still in my hoop. And it is stunning. I love this one. This one is absolutely gorgeous. The lighting isn't great here, so I'm trying to get good lighting so you can see. It shows up really, really good in person, but I'm not sure if it's showing up here. You can see the nativity down here, or the manger, and the star is just gorgeous. So these are 2 of the 4 ornaments of this set that I'm doing. And these are the religious ones that I'm doing for my kids. They always have a religious, I always like to do like a religious ornament for Christmas for them. So that's 2, I have 2 more in this set to do. Let me see, these are stitched on 14 count Afgado. I think that's the best I can pronounce it, from Fiber on a Whim. And they're all going to be stitched on that fabric. So those 2 are stitched on that fabric. I did have another finish that I don't have to show you. It is on my Instagram if you'd like to see it. So my future daughter-in-law had a birthday, and I stitched her the album cover from Taylor Swift. She's a huge Taylor Swift fan. She went to the concert. There's a pattern that has 6 album covers. It's from Nat X Stitches. I also linked them in the post on my Instagram. If you're interested, you can go check those out. And I did her the Lover mini album cover. So you can see the picture on my Instagram. My Instagram is madebymichellemcgraw, and it's over there. So if you're interested in those, maybe you have a Taylor Swift fan in your house. They were perfect. I did that one for her birthday, and I will do another one for her for Christmas out of that collection. But I gifted it to her, so I can't show it. But I did take pictures, and they're on my Instagram. Okay. I also finished, let's see here. I also finished, I didn't bring the pattern in, another piece of my nativity. So I did not bring that bag in here. This is one of the wise men in the nativity set. If you haven't seen before, I've done the nativity set. Mine is from Janlin. It was a kit. It is no longer offered as a kit. It is offered as a pattern on 123 Stitch from Cooler Designs. And so I stitched the wise men. My goal is to stitch all 3 wise men this year and then fully finish them. This is the one I did last year and I didn't fully finish it, is the donkey. So you can kind of get an idea. They're really, really pretty. They're gorgeous. When they're all stitched up, they're really great. I am doing these on 14 count Aida oatmeal. And so I didn't fully finish him last year because he was the only one that I got stitched last year. And when I do them, I kind of all like to finish them together. So I just waited. But my goal is to do the other 2 wise men. I have the camel started from last year, so if I could do the wise men and the camel, that would be awesome. We'll see where I get to. 1 wise man down, 2 more to go. That's my goal. The rest of it will be extra. Okay, let me move this out of the way. Okay, this one has been lingering, and I need to just get it done, because it's not big. I don't know why I'm taking so long. It is the Pipe Santa off of St. Nicholas 2, Prairie Schooler, and it is right here. So let me show this one. Why do I have 2 hoops in that bag? I have no idea. It's a little much, a little extra. This is my Prairie Schooler bag where I have all my patterns and there's a yard of fabric in here. This has all the threads in here. And I keep them all in that bag because I'm always working on Prairie Schooler Santas. So this is the Pipe Santa. It is on 14 count murky with the called for, and I don't have much to go. I just need to finish him. And he's just lingering for no reason at all. I need to get him done so I can fully finish him too. Okay. Okay, this one was one that I had started a while back, but I never showed it because it was not in here. It was still in the truck. I don't have much to show, but I will show it. Okay. There's another hoop in here. What am I doing? 2 bags. I have found 3 extra hoops. Then I wonder where my hoops go to. I'm so silly. All right, so this is Welcome to the North Pole from Primrose Cottage. Now, there is a sale going on and people are working on this and it's gorgeous. I am apparently losing threads. I am not working on the sow, but I wanted to do the strip with the train just because I love trains for Christmas. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing the train. And this is the start. This is called for threads. Just a little short start. Nothing too exciting. It is I think this one is 16 count, picture this plus murky. So I started him. Like I said, I haven't fully finished. Why do I have 2 pattern holders in here too? This is odd. Okay, so I just have an extra pattern holder in that bag, making it extremely heavy. I don't know what I'm doing over here. I'm also dropping floss all over my floor. Alrighty. Super fun. You do a floss tube and clean out your bags. Okay, my last whip that I'm gonna show. I did have a little bit of progress on the wedding one. I'm not gonna show it. I didn't have a lot of progress. So I'll show that next time. Okay. This is somewhat shows my progress, but it also goes into my haul. So I had gotten Gaia and I wanted to start her from Bella Filipina. And I had told y'all I was super excited because Bella Filipina are charted on separate pages, which is something that I don't like about Mirabilias. I don't like the big, huge chart. I find it cumbersome to work with. It's hard to make working copies even. I'm just not a fan. I wish they would make them as individual pages, or if they would make it as a PDF. If you bought the chart, maybe you can buy the PDF for an additional cost. I understand they don't. That's how Mirabilia does theirs. I get it, but I was thrilled that Bella Filipina are separate pages. So I wanted to start Gaia, and she is beautiful. So my first thought was I was going to do her as a scene, and I will show you some of my fabrics that I had gotten. I didn't choose any of them. So I actually chose 28 count canvas in motion from Fabric Flair. So it's got these browns and these pinks, and she's gonna look gorgeous on it. And here is my progress so far, which doesn't look like a lot, but it's a lot of stitching. And this up here is the first Krynic that I'm putting in. I'm not sure that you can see it good, but she is beautiful so far. And I am stitching right in the middle. So I am back here. And her arm is back here. So is that right? Yes. Yes. So there is her second arm coming in. I have really, really, really enjoyed her. Funny because she is not on the fabric that I thought I would use. And let me show you some of those fabrics. I'm going to show you them the best I can. I have enjoyed Gaia so much. I have had to force myself to put her down and move on. And so that's part of my lessening my goals that I want to stitch on her. And I don't want to have all of these goals that I just can never get back to her. So, okay. Fabric Flair has some scene fabrics. And this one is called Forest Book Steps. Now, this was the one that I thought I would use for her. The problem is on Fabric Viewer, it's reversed. So if I had put her, some of these steps would have shown, and the steps are all the way down to the bottom. On Fabric Viewer, she covers up the steps, and then you just see this greenery around her, which I thought would be beautiful. The steps kind of made her, it would have looked weird, because like what would have this been? Like it wouldn't have made sense when she's on the fabric. It's beautiful, but not for this project. So that's okay. And I did get all this fabric from Stitchery Express. Cindy is super, super good. Got it super quick. And I was able to make my choice. I ultimately did not choose what I thought I would, but that's another reason why I wanted to show it, because there's some great fabrics to do Mirabilias on, Bella Filipinas, Nora Corbett's, Joan Elliott's. And so there's some great options. So Stitchery Express, Cindy is really quick. Love the service. This one is called Kansas Sky. And I thought she would be beautiful on this. Problem being the green, she would have blended. So too much green, but beautiful. So I didn't use that. Once again, that's okay. This became my number one choice, and it is Monet's Field. And it became my number one choice because she would pop on it, she would fit on it, she wouldn't blend, but ultimately that canvas in motion kept calling to me. So this is Monet's Field. And I think she would be beautiful on this one. But I also think this one would go for a lot. And so I thought, I'll save it and I'll use it for another one. So Canvas in Motion, it was stunning. It just was stunning. Those were my top three choices. Now I also got some others to do maybe some pixies and stuff on it. So this is Halloween Hill. This is the portrait version. So can you see a witch done on her? I mean, be gorgeous, right? I'm into the scenes fabrics, although I haven't done one. I really, really, really want to. One of these is going to be done into a scene, but I wanted to share in case anybody was looking at these. So this one is Moonlit Tree. Now this one is smaller, so she'd have to be a pixie probably, but really pretty. This one is called Night Call, and I'm not sure which one, but I thought it was beautiful. Can you see one of the ladies in here? She'd be gorgeous. Maybe it would have to be a pixie because this is more horizontal. Now, I'm not super into mermaids, but I really, really, really want to stitch a mermaid on this fabric. So this is, once again, these are all Fabric Flare from Stitchery Express. This is Under the Sea. And I want to start a mermaid on it. It will be gorgeous. Isn't that pretty? I have a mermaid picked out. I just don't have any. I think I have the pattern. I don't have the bead pack, so I need to order the bead pack. And I'm not even into mermaids, but I really want to stitch on that fabric. So silly, but I do. Okay, this is Haunted House Moon. These are all 28 count. If you've never done a Mira or a Bella Filipina, there are some quarter stitches. And if I go into something knowing that there's going to be a lot of quarter stitches, normally around the face and the hands, which to me are the most delicate and you want them to look neat, I think even weave is a better, it has a hole for all of those quarter stitches. And my quarter stitches look really neat on them. So that's why I like to do them. Here's another one. This is House and Moon. It says Haunted House and Moon. It's a different layout to it and a different size. So you can kind of get a difference. That's maybe the hardest thing about picking the fabric is sometimes, like if you look on Fabric Viewer, it's not always going to look like that. And so that gives you an idea, but it's not 100%. And it may not work out. Like this one I thought would be gorgeous, and it would be, but it is, it's the wrong way. It is horizontal versus vertical. So like this is horizontal. So that's gonna have to be for a different one. And that one is, it just says lightning because it cut it off. So I'm not sure. It's very pretty, but it wasn't gonna work for Gaia. And then this is the last one. This is another one that's horizontal, not vertical, but this is Misty Moore. And this one looked really pretty on Fabric Flare, but it doesn't work for Gaia. But another one would look gorgeous on here. So I have those in my stash now, and it's a little, it's a little extra, it's a little much. But I really, really enjoyed shopping for those and kind of planning and seeing how they looked. And I have tons of Mirabilia, several Bella Filipina designs. And so I am sure to find something to go on there eventually. Okay, what else do I have in my stash? Here is some fabric that I found at Hobby Lobby. They had their yardage, all their yardage fabric was 40% off. So I got 2 yards of this because it is nativity, and it is very hard to find nativity fabric. Nativity fabric that has a smaller print on it. So I snatched that up Okay, Chantel 141 Designs. I placed an order for a couple of things. She has these round finishes. I thought they would, and they come with like with a little stand. Thought those would be really cute for some designs. I bought 3 of those. This is a cube finish, and it all goes together. Each side of the cube is a finish. And I thought this would be really cute for different patterns. When you got like a set of them, she shows this with the stitch card, Lori Holt stitch cards on them. And I thought that would be really cute. So I bought that. I did get some more. I haven't even opened these yet because I don't need them yet, but I was renting. I don't have any more that aren't being used. I did get some more, come out, of the floss holders. I love those. Okay, let me move. I don't have much more. Okay, I did want to thank Amy. She had reached out and she sent me a pattern holder from Knitter's Pride. She said she wasn't using it. She sent me a great little note. Thank you so much, Amy. I super, super appreciate it. It will go to use. Thank you. So my sister and I finally exchanged my birthday gift. And I said finally, my birthday was in June. Me and my sister do this all the time where we have our gifts ready, but we don't give them to each other for a while. Anyhow, I had asked for the new Kringles fabric from Teresa Kogut, and she bought me the fat quarter pack. She also in my bag had a chart, which is Night Out from Brenda Gervais. She also got me some fabric, and I'm going to quickly show this. This is all from XJU Designs, which is some of my favorite. It is 28 count Lugana. Really pretty. This is 28 count linen. Super pretty. There was a little sample that she sent of spilled coffee. If anybody is doing the Alice in Wonderland from Bella Filipina, that actually would be a really pretty color for her. Very similar to what the model is shown. And that's from XJU Designs. This is 28 count linen winter vibes. Gorgeous. This is 32 count linen jack-o'-lantern. I love this one. I've used this before. Love it. This one is 32 count linen midnight ride. Very, very pretty. So those were in my baggie. I joined XJU Designs Fabric of the Month Club to get Lugana. I was in Color and Cotton. They have had trouble getting their Lugana, so I switched to another club. And this is, I get 28 count Lugana, and this is just June's color, is what it says. Fabric of the Month. So XJU Designs does it a little differently. You prepay and you decide how many months you want, and then she sends it to you. I've done her Ada Club before. I loved it. I joined it for the Lugana. I also, when I was at Hobby Lobby getting the fabric, I got some fabric pencils, fabric marking pencils, which are going in my finishing bag. And they had all Fisker's products 40% off. I got a new pair of fabric scissors and for 40% off. I bought my future daughter-in-law, her birthday was this past weekend, and I bought her, well, our family bought her a sewing machine. So I went to the store, talked to them. There was a couple things that I knew I was looking for. I did want it to have some digital features. I wanted it to have good markings. I wanted it to be a drop-in bobbin versus a side load bobbin. I ended up getting her a Baby Lock Presto 2, I think is what it was. She hasn't taken it out, but she's been looking. She is super excited to sew some stuff. So with getting her that sewing machine, I also I did a sewing package. I had threads, scissors, a rotary cutter, a trimmer, all the things that you would need to sew, and put it in a little sewing kit for her too. So she had that along with her ornament, and some other goodies in her bag, but I had put that together. And so when Fisker's products were 40% off, I was like, this is perfect. Okay, the only other haul I want to show is the set of coasters. So if you do not watch Mama Loves You GB, go watch her. She showed these button coasters on her site. Now, she showed them from a British company, and it was going to be super expensive to send them over here. And I was like, oh, they're so cute for finishing, but it's too much to, once I spent shipping because it was a overseas company, I went and hunted these down on Amazon and I found them, and they're like $6.95 for 6 of them. And they're super cute. They do have the buttonholes in here. And so I will be fully finishing some ornaments on these. They come in this little box. I loved them. So I bought those. Mama Loves You GB. Thank you, Michelle, so much for the idea. But if you're in the US, hit Amazon. Okay, that is everything I have. So what are my plans? My plans are to do another nativity piece, another wise man. I'd like to get all 3 wise men done and at least get those fully finished along with the donkey so I can add more pieces to my nativity set. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to my Instagram. I do have them in past Flosstubes. So go look at those. You'll see the pattern. Sorry I didn't bring it in here with me today. I want to stitch 2 more of those. I need to stitch the ornaments for my kids. I have 16 picked out. I have done 2 of them, so I have 14 left. So those are my must do. The rest of them are all want to do. Just I'll be stitching whatever I want after that. I do want to continue to work on Gaia. I'm going to use her as a reward when I do an ornament, complete it. Maybe I get a day or 2 on Gaia. I also need to do the next part of the Frosted Pumpkin Homecoming Club. I always get the name wrong, but it's the castle one. That part came out. I need to stitch it. So that is on the agenda to do as well. I don't need to stitch it. I want to stitch it. How about that? I've really, really enjoyed that one, so I want to stitch that as well. So that is all that I have today. I will be continuing stitching. We still have some trips coming up that we have to go on, so I will be sure to get some truck stitching in. But I will be working on all of those projects. So happy stitching, and I will see you next time.